first official episode of Bama Brigade Independence Edition.
Your audio's, I don't know what's going on, but great start, Tyler.
Oh, was I just a robot that whole time? Whatever, it doesn't matter. You're here.
Yeah, we're having major audio issues.
Tyler, you literally sound like you're in like a wind tunnel or something. All right,
Sound better.
Yes.
There we go. Cool.
Great start.
So, how you guys doing? Main thing.
Good.
Better
I'm
than
good.
one Peter Golding probably
Oof.
on this morning.
Ooh.
Yeah, we'll get into that. That's have some thoughts about that, some heated thoughts.
So you guys want to start with football or basketball today?
Oh boy.
Mm,
We got some good basketball news for once.
yeah, let's start on a positive note before we get all negative up in here.
Yeah. So the board of like shareholders and stuff officially approved a new stadium for Alabama basketball. I know they pitched it today, and I saw reports at least that it got approved. And It looked super nice. Like it looked big. Student section's close to the court finally. You know, that's a huge thing.
I was just gonna say I've only been to Coleman one time. No, that's not true. I've only seen one basketball game there, and I remember it was one of the most unpleasant experiences. It was freshman year. I was in the nosebleeds. It was hot. It was stuffy in there. It's just outdated, and I'm glad that they're finally doing something about it. I mean, who knows how long it'll take to actually get done, but I mean, they do pretty fast work on those sorority houses and the new dorms that they have, so they need to get on this ASAP, and I'm excited. At least from the video, it looked like it was going to be pretty modernized, and that's something that you need if you're killing it recruiting. That's kind of the last piece to the puzzle, in my opinion, aside from winning on the court, which we'll also get into.
Yeah, I mean, as far as like all the good teams or the teams that were supposed to be good, Bama might have had like the worst stadium. Like Coleman kind of sucked, you know? Kind of sucks. I guess it's not gone yet, but it's not great. And people have been asking for renovations for years. So I'm glad that they're finally listening. And I think that Nate Oates, honestly, has been a huge part of that, right? I don't think with the success that Avery Johnson had and like the team that he had, he would have got this done. But the fact that Nate Oates is actually fielding a competitive team year in and year out, and also is like, you know, primed for a really good recruiting class next year, I think they're like, hey, we can be serious about basketball too. So,
well, you guys know who the prime funder is for this project, right?
No.
It's Clack.
Yeah, whatever.
He's got that money.
I think there was two reasons we did this. You know, because it's long overdue, but two, I mean, look what Auburn did. It's something that's really important to get good players. And I think, you know, look, Auburn, it was crucial to Auburn's success is getting them a new arena. And, you know, I think Greg Byrne and everybody time that, you know, we can't put this on the back burner anymore. This is a recruiting tool for Nate Oates, and I think this is going to be really good for us. They said that I read on the article that I think it's going to begin in 2023, so it's not too long of a wait. You know, hopefully by the 2025 season, that, you know, hope keep Nate Oates. I mean, there's him, but I mean, yeah, he really good.
Yeah. One thing I do like about Greg Byrne is that like he's kind of he hasn't been afraid to dish out some money or like go to war to dish out some money for his teams, right? Like Alabama football obviously has a state-of-the-art facilities and all that, and that's one of the huge draws. And now basketball is getting a brand new stadium to help draw people to that. So they haven't been afraid to like support the athletics programs, and I think that it's part of the reason that Alabama's been so, you know, been on the rise in sports that aren't just football the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I joked that Clack was financing the whole thing, but the university has plenty of money to do this, and like you said, we're on the uptick when it comes for just basically all of our sports overall, not even just football. So if you're getting the recruits and you have a coach like Nate Oates, and people, even though we're not winning on the court, seem to buy into what Nate Oates is preaching, you should have no issues building a basketball, a new basketball arena. The real question, though, that I've seen it's been going on Twitter. Some people, joked about it. What do you think would be a proper name for this new stadium? You think they'll just call it Coleman Coliseum, or do you think they'll completely scrap the name and redo it?
Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about naming the whole stadium after Fluff, but I think they'll definitely be some sort of special thing for him, like
the student section.
The student section,
like
yeah, obviously. And then also, this is not even has to do with sports, but whatever you do, you're going to have to continue to have that be a weather shelter too, as well. Because I don't know how many times last year, probably 3 or 4 times, I had to go in Coleman for tornado warnings and such. So definitely some things to consider when building a new arena. But I don't know. The name I feel like is important too, because that's what people like to gravitate towards. But they won't have any problems getting butts and seats, that's for sure.
No, not at all.
Do you know if they're leaving Coleman up or are they tearing it down or what?
I think they're going to keep it for like a practice facility. The thing is, this is just my opinion based off of now is like the one thing about Coleman is big and you're able to fit like a practice facility and stuff in it. I don't know with suites and with the way they're going to set if you're going to have room for a practice. I don't know teams do. I don't know how Auburn and Ole Miss's arenas are set up in that way, that respect. So I wouldn't be surprised if they kept that up as a practice facility. That's just kind of a guess based off of, of now. I mean, but I'm definitely willing to bet they keep it up.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Why would you tear it down for no reason unless you need the space? I mean, you can
Mr. Byrne, tear down this stadium.
Shoot, at worst, you can use it for like a concert venue or something like that, right?
That would be a really good idea.
Yeah, they have the amphitheater, I know, but that's outdoors, right? So having an indoor kind of concert venue in Tuscaloosa.
Have a Dante Wilder fight there.
Oh wow, that might not be the worst idea.
No, that's a great idea.
Also, I'm dumb. I just realized that whenever I post whenever I go live on my Facebook, it's not to the public, so you can't reshare it. So now you should be able to reshare it. Sorry about that.
Well, thank you for giving us your permission to reshare our own show.
What a boomer.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right.
Speaking of Alabama basketball, you mentioned Auburn earlier. We had the Iron Bowl of basketball part 2. Same result, actually a lot less close of a final score. The game was relatively close at some points. At the end, it definitely got out of control, but they brought it within 2 in the second half, I know, and then just kind of went downhill from there. But so let's talk about that game real quick. I mean, Jaden Shackelford led the team, 26 points.
Well, I mean, we started off, the first 4 minutes were great, and first 4 minutes of each half were great. And other than that, well, it was not good. Like with us, it's either start off slow and then wake up, or it's either start off nice and just fall asleep. And we started off decent. I thought, okay, we're looking good, and then we quit. We quit doing everything. We quit rebounding. We quit.
Rebounding? What is that?
Rebounding. We quit doing everything we needed to do. We couldn't score for anything. Like, I've never seen a team miss so many layups. That's literally at the hoop. I mean, like, goodness gracious.
Yeah, to be fair, Walker Kessler was in the game. He had like 9 blocks, I think, 8 blocks. I mean,
but a lot of those blocks were just horrible takes to the rim, or prime example. You know who I can't stand on this team?
Was it Javon Quinterly taking a fadeaway floater with Walker Kessler right there?
That's what he does. The only time Javon Quinterly is good is when he just authoritatively decides to take it to the hoop, like he shot out of a cannon. But all this dribbling around that he does and wimpy fadeaway shots, it makes me so mad. And there were so many of them that Walker Kessler just easily blocked. It wasn't like he was doing anything out of the ordinary. He's just a tall guy that all he had to do was just go like that because Quinterly's throwing up these wimpy ass shots. And just the offense overall is so vanilla. Like, everybody just stands there. Like when I watched Auburn's offense, they were moving, setting picks, and doing all this. But Alabama's offense is painful to watch because I haven't had the chance from start to finish to watch many of their games this year, just because I'm trying, not to break my own heart, but it's so plain and boring. It's like watching like a horrible high school offense. There's no creativity with it. We did start off the game, at least for the most part, playing pretty solid defense. Neither one of the teams was shooting particularly well, but yeah, just my takeaways from the game would be that Quinterly is either really, really on or he's really, really off, and most of the time he's really, really off. And then just the defense basically fell apart, got lazy, wasn't getting back, and was just giving up alley-oops like they were going out of style or something.
Yeah, literally like every single time an Auburn point guard drove, right? It's like me playing 2K. They did a pick and roll, right? And then every single time no one would follow the roller and he'd get a wide open like dunk. And it was just over and over again. And I got a little bit of PTSD from the last Auburn game because it was within 2, right? We brought it all the way back. Javon Gurley had a wide open 3 that he passed up on to take a contested like layup that, obviously didn't go in. And then it went back downhill from there. And it literally happened the exact same thing the last Auburn game, except that was to lose the game. This one, there's some more time. And I get you can't blame it all on JQ, but he went, 1 for 7 in the first half? It was either 1 for 7 or 1 for 8. He ended with 20 points. Like, he was maybe our best player in the second half. But another guy, too, and another huge reason I think why we lost is that J.D. Davison was literally invisible that game. He's, 5-star point guard, wasn't the number 1 point guard recruit in the country this last year. So he scored 0 points. 0 points, 4 assists in 22 minutes or in 24 minutes of play.
I get that his performance could be better, but when you're a true freshman in a hostile environment against the best team in the country, you can't rely on a guy of his caliber, regardless of talent. You can't rely on him. That's where you have guys like Javon Quinterly and Jaden Shackelford. Jaden Shackelford is the only player that plays hard else. Everybody else out there was just terrible.
But if you can't rely on them, why are they starting? Right? Like,
because Javon Quinterly is supposed to be your guy, and he isn't doing jack shit out there.
Who else are you going to start though? Like, that's my question. Is like, who else are you going to start? Like, honestly, I'm all for starting Britton Johnson just as like, make a statement.
All right. Let's not go that far. But
I mean, at least he gives an effort.
I would rather start J.D. Davidson over Quinterly because at least J.D. Davidson has that potential, whereas Quinterly is just, I don't know what it is, but he is so off. And he has no business. He has no business being out there right now.
Yeah, I disagree with that. Like, I disagree. Like, he has got. I mean, you look at. There's been games. Look at the game against Baylor, against Florida.
Baylor game, he carried the team.
I mean, there's been games where he's played great. So, I mean, he has to be out there. Should he start? No, but should he be getting 30, 35 minutes? As many minutes as anybody else? Yes, I think so. But I think at the same time, you've got Nate Oates needs to be quicker. Like, I'm all for, shoot out of your slump. But at what cost do you shoot out of your slump? Like, you don't just be jacking up threes or taking crazy shots against the number 1 team in the country on the road in key situations.
We tried the shoot out of the slump thing, and it fails miserably. I don't understand that. Like, if you shoot a couple of threes and they're not falling and you're starting to get down, you don't continue shooting threes. It just doesn't work. It's this team. This team did that same crap last year, and it didn't work either. So I don't know what is going on at practice, or this team, I tweeted about it, has no identity right now. They're not a blue collar team. They're not a 3-point shooting team. They're a team that just doesn't know who they are. They have no identity. And it's unfortunate because you have a guy like Shackelford who seems to be the only one who wants to play out there. Everyone else is just kind of standing around. That's why I would at least play J.D. Davison and let him continue to grow. I'd rather do that than put Quinterly out there and have him continue to turn the ball over and just play like absolute crap, for lack of better words.
Everybody turned the ball over, but I mean, you can't blame. I mean, I agree. JQ did not play well Tuesday, but you can't blame JQ for Keon Ellis driving in and missing a layup, or Bediako, heaven forbid, he does this every game, missing 4 or 5 putbacks. He's 7 feet tall.
Why don't they just play Alex Chiku?
I mean, he's not ready. He's not ready to go. He's not.
That was my nod to Christian Sykes.
Keon Ellis is like the big question mark that I had is like, what happened to him? I mean, this last game, right? He was just kind of out there. And I know I said that about JD Davison as well, but like Ellis didn't. I mean, he had some good defensive plays. That's what he does. But all I remember about him through the game is him missing shot after shot after shot when he was wide open. Like,
that's just the identity of this team. Is like they're going to chuck up 3 after 3 after 3 after 3. And then they start falling, you start losing confidence, and then you start you look at guys like JQ against like last week in the loss against Georgia. Like, you start losing confidence, they start hesitating. That gives the defense more time to close in. That changes your shot up. And it's like they lose confidence. They quit getting, when they're falling, we're absolutely on fire. Like, if JQ goes in and scores 25 points, we're probably never going to lose. But when we start shooting threes and they quit falling, like, we lose the confidence, and then like all hell breaks loose.
Do you know what I'm gonna you know what I'm gonna say, right?
What?
You live and you die by the 3-pointer.
I don't
obviously when they're going in, it's all sunshines and rainbows.
I disagree, Joe, because I mean, look, we did not shoot very well from 3 against Baylor. And we won by 10. We scored 87 points against Baylor.
You're not any team that has a tough defense like Auburn does. You're not going to beat. I mean, Baylor's a great team, but nobody has a defense like Auburn. Any team that has a tough physical defense, you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to be able to escape.
Here's another problem that bothers me that this team does. Okay, like, yeah, Auburn has a great defense mostly because of one guy, Walker Kessler. Okay, look at that game. You go back and watch that game. Those refs were calling fouls at the drop of a pen. Like, here's why
I understand that, but we're not gonna. We do the same stuff.
I'm not blaming
39-22.
Let me finish. We did this last year, and we're doing it this year. If the refs are foul happy, quit shooting threes and start driving in. You're gonna get the calls, and you foul somebody like Walker Kessler out or get him in foul trouble. That opens up your offense, but why do we continue to be content with shooting threes when every time you drive in, there's a whistle blown? We were getting calls when we drove in. Why do we not do that more? Why do we not adjust? And this is not even a coaching problem. This is a problem of the players. They just want to chuck it up. Like, even Nate Oates wants our guys to shoot good from mid-range.
Nate Oates wants them to shoot 3-pointers. So they're going to shoot 3-pointers. If Nate Oates puts his foot down and says, hey, guys, we need to shoot less 3-pointers and focus on driving, guess what they're going to do? Focus on driving. So whatever Nate Oates tells them to do, they're going to do. So the reason why they're jacking up 3-pointers and not driving to hoop is because they have this mindset. They're a 3-point shooting team, which is not true at all. It never has been. I never understood that.
They are a 3-point shooting team to a point, but I mean, it just matters if they're falling or not. Some days they fall, some days they don't. But
you can't rely on you can't build your offense on shooting 3-pointers and expect it to work.
Have you ever heard of the Golden State Warriors?
Oh, a bunch of NBA. They're an NBA team. They're an NBA team with the greatest 3-point shooter of all time.
But I'm saying people made the same argument in the NBA before they did it, and then they did it well, and then people are like, oh.
Okay, but I disagree on that because I mean
we have never done that well though. So I think we've lost that chance to do that.
I agree but I disagree because like we can't be a live or die by the 3 team. Like the Warriors do it all the time, but they always have key losses because Curry always goes like it never fails. Steph Curry goes cold every single game in the fourth quarter. Curry goes ice cold.
I'd take the key losses, but they have 4 freaking championships in the last like 6 years. I would gladly take the key losses for that.
We're not comparing Alabama basketball.
It has nothing to do because they shoot the 3. It's not because they shoot the 3. It's because they had guys like KD and stuff. Curry has always sucked in the finals. What does he do? Shoot threes. They seem to open it up more in the finals, and that's what wins them games. That's not the point though. Like we need to move. Like, we can keep our identity as a 3-point shooting team, but we need to be willing to go away from that. And I've never seen, like, yeah, they did a great job against Baylor going away from that. Why can't we do that more often?
As long as that's our identity as a team, I'm just saying the ceiling for this team is not as high as people think it is.
I mean, I agree, but I don't think we're live or die by the 3 because we can do other things. We just elect not to.
They have not shown me that they can do other things, even against bad teams. They've showed me.
I'm going to pull up the stats here. I'm going to pull up the stats. Again, I'm going to get some key games.
One thing I will say that I agree with, Clack, is you mentioned like the refs are super foul happy, and like people are quick to point out, and I mentioned it earlier, like Auburn shot 39 free throws to Alabama's 22, but I don't think that's because like, oh, the refs are out to get us. I think it's exactly like you said, just shot selection. Obviously Auburn, when they're like they're dominating on the inside, is going to get fouled a lot. I did think it was kind of funny. Like I made a tweet about it, but like the announcer, I think like 6 possessions in a row, it was like, oh, it looks like they missed a foul on Alabama. And I'm like, dude, not everything is a foul. Like, come on. But I think that anyone that tries to say like, oh, the refs are out to get us or whatever is just kind of, just looks at the pure numbers and not how the game played out. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't why we lost. I mean, we can all agree that we're all saying the same thing. Just I'm saying it a little bit different than you guys. That they need to start taking the ball to the rim with authority and trying to draw foul calls. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's a key stat. This is the key stat. This is what.
Get out your keys.
I have a stat that proves Joe wrong right here.
Oh.
And I said this in our first episode, and I can't even prove myself wrong a little bit. I said in our first episode, if we make 13 or more threes per game, we never lose. Okay. And we played 3, because as everybody knows, we're 3-0 against Final Four teams from last year.
Mm-hmm.
Against 2 of those combined teams, Houston and Baylor, we have a combined 14 threes. We scored 7. We had 7 threes in each game. We got outshot from 3 in each of those games and still won the games. When we are able to go to those be able to score 2s, and not when we're able to go off. Like, I mean, I still think we should be a 3-point shooting team. When we get 2-point baskets, we're better. I mean, like, we're not live or die by the 3 because we've won 2 or 3 games against the Final Four teams not shooting well from 3.
I'm not saying you can't win games, but it makes it a lot harder when you're jacking up X amount of threes a game. And you're missing them, obviously. When you're making them, like I said, it's all great and it looks good on the stat sheet. But when you're missing them and you're, 1 for 15 in what game was that? Georgia game? LSU. When you're 1 for 15, or it was LSU or Georgia?
LSU.
We didn't shoot well in the Georgia game either, and that was part of the reason why we lost the game was we were ice cold. But I don't know. We're all frustrated about this team because we know that they can do better and they have a lot of talent. Moving away from the on the court stuff, I did want to talk about what's the deal with Auburn? Like, are they just
little brother syndrome?
Yeah, are we just living rent free in their heads for like ever?
Yes.
Well, it's one of those things. I get it, right? Like for the last however many years, like losing constantly to Alabama's got to kind of build up. So now they have a good season, and so they're going to rightfully like give back some of the trash that we taught. I think the weird thing is the whole crane kick thing. Like they've really latched onto that more than Alabama has, and that was like a football thing. Like I just don't get it when they do it in like all the other sports. Like, oh, okay, you beat us in basketball, but you're doing the football thing. Like, beat us in football if you want to use that. Like, that's what I don't get.
It doesn't make sense, and they think that it's some hurtful dig, and really it's just annoying. It's not even like I'm sitting here like, oh man, Auburn did that. It's just annoying. Like, you're doing it in gymnastics. That is the definition of just like living rent free.
Yeah, y'all had a gold medal winning gymnast. Like, congrats, you guys deserve to be good because of that. Like, I hope you guys do beat us with Suni Lee. You know, she literally won.
none of us are taking anything. Like Auburn's having aside from football, they're having like a solid athletic year, and the basketball team's pretty good. Gymnastics is good, but like just be good. Like you don't have to try and go out of your way to be like just passive aggressive about things. Like it's so weird. And then Bruce Pearl doing it.
I think it's kind of universally people like
it. It reiterates the hate that I have about Auburn, and I'm really just hoping that this is the peak. I mean, for them, the way that they're playing, like you would think they're gonna win a championship. So what happens if they get bounced in like the first round or something?
They're gonna toilet paper their quad after winning in like the round of 32 or something, and then get bounced in the Sweet 16 by like
or they'll celebrate too early.
Yeah,
I can't hate Bruce Pearl, especially off all the things he's been really good to Fluff's family and all of that. And I don't know if y'all saw his tweet the other day or yesterday. So it's hard to hate Bruce Pearl, but Auburn, my God, like act like you've been here. Well, no, you can't act like you've been here before when you haven't. But I mean,
in recent years, yeah.
I mean, what can we expect from a fan base that's not used to winning?
It's just, I mean, I don't hate Bruce Pearl. It's just so odd to me that it's becoming like this dig attempt at us when it was a football thing to begin with. If they beat us in football, I mean, but also we all knew that when this became a thing and it, we did win the national championship, that it was going to backfire on us. So part of that is on us as a fan base, but at the same time, it's weird for Auburn to sit here and try and go out of their way to be jerks to us.
Yeah, it's also one of those things too. Like, anytime anyone in any sport has like a signature celebration, as soon as they like lose or something bad happens to them, it gets mocked, right? Like pretty much every team for the last year now that we've played against in the NFL for the Vikings has done the gritty every time they score a touchdown. It's just gonna happen. And I think the crane kick is the same thing, like playing against a team that made that their signature thing. Anytime you beat them or do anything good, you're going to do that to mock it. It's kind of like it's to a lesser extent, it's like horns down, right? Like that's horns up's their thing. You do it to make fun of them. I get it. Like, the only thing is I hope next year they don't try to like pee in our end zone or whatever, like they did in the Egg Bowl. I know that was Mississippi State, but like, hopefully it doesn't go that far. But
if they carry it all the way over to next year, that's just sad and pathetic.
Oh, they will.
Like Clack said, you can't expect anything different from Auburn.
I already saw a bunch of like 33-18 jokes and stuff about Georgia, like talking to Alabama fans, and I'm like, my guy, you've lost like 7 of the last 8 games to Alabama. Relax. So, I don't know. Alabama, but with the loss, we dropped to 14-8. We have 3 wins, like you said, against last year's Final Four. Our next game is on Saturday against number 5 Kentucky. So, what are you guys' predictions? Right, well, Kentucky had a bit of a down year last year, but they seemed to jump right back into it.
Weather permitting, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
it's snowing here real bad. It's like 6 or 7 inches of snow right where I live, but.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't even. I don't know what to expect.
It's such a weird thing to say, but it really depends on what Alabama shows up, right? Like, this same team has both lost to Georgia and beat Gonzaga, like when they were the number 1 team. We've beaten teams that have great bigs, and we've lost to teams that have like nobodies. So
it's just it's painful to watch. It's so painful to watch week after week.
Just score the most points. That's all I ask. Score the most points.
Yeah, score more points than the other team. I believe if we do that, we'll win.
I mean, honestly, Bama basketball knowing us, could be the first team to score more points and lose. Like, they could find a way to do that. Like, and it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, and then Dad walking off the court as all the Kentucky players do the crane kick. I actually going to make a bold prediction and say we do win. We've kind of been on the cycle of embarrassing loss into like good win. We had that one like 3-game loss streak, right? But besides that, we've been pretty good about rebounding from losses. So I think that they're going to go out there, and like I said, I would pick Alabama straight up if I was a betting man. But even if they do lose, I think it's going to be a lot closer than the Auburn game. I don't think it's going to be another 20-point blowout. So, you guys want to talk about football a little bit? We're a football school.
Shout out Sanchez, who's watching us.
So what's up, Sanchez?
How we doing?
But we're a football school, Let's talk about football. We received a commitment from 3-star tight end Danny Lewis Jr., a.k.a. the Brian Kelly dancing guy. That video came out, Brian Kelly doing their little whatever their dance was, I don't even know. And he immediately went and committed to Alabama because not only did he not want to have to dance with Brian Kelly after every win in the locker room, he wanted to make him suffer for forcing him through that. So he said, I'm going to go to Alabama. That video had over 8 million views, I think they said the last time. It's just insane. And then it's not directly Alabama related. I mean, I guess it is because Texas A&M rose to the #1 recruiting class, passing Alabama. And I'm sure you guys saw, but Jimbo Fisher had some things to say about that when he was interviewed. I'll just read off a quick quote real quick. He said, "To have coaches in our league and across the league say it, clown acts, irresponsible as hell, multiple coaches in our league, and guys griping about the NFL and NIL and transfer portal are using it the most and bragging about it the most. It's the ironic part. It's a joke. It does piss me off." Basically complaining about people saying that Texas A&M kind of bought their recruiting class. And I get it. It kind of undermines all the hard work you do as a recruiter. But I did see one interesting thing, which is that in 3 years ago, they had 1 5-star, 1 5-star, and 2 5-stars. And then the NIL was introduced. And now they have 7 5-stars and the highest rated recruiting class of all time. So it does make you think a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, they basically did buy all the recruits. But I mean, that's how college football is now with the NIL stuff. I can't fault them for that, but I don't know. They've always been a bit of a joke to me. I mean, they beat us this year. Sucked, but I've never really taken Jimbo Fisher all that seriously. And I think he's just screaming at the clouds, basically. It's just stupid. They're
going to be the highest paid 8-4 college football team of all time. That's how they always do. They always are flirting with the #1 spot right around there and then end up having several disappointing losses. And I don't mind at all that they went out and paid their recruits, right? That's just something that's going to come with the NIL. And I know that Texas A&M has a lot of boosters and a lot of money, but it does make me kind of mad that that Jimbo's not owning up to it, right? I think this whole situation would have been better if he was just we got good recruits and just left it at that. The fact that he's trying to be everyone else is in the wrong for getting mad about this is just kind of weird to me.
That's Jimbo for you, though. I mean,
So Bill O'Brien, right, rumored to have serious interest in the Patriots job. I know Nick Saban came out and said oh, it's just rumors. We don't really keep up with all that. But there's more reports today saying he's a serious contender. So do you guys think he's going to go to the Patriots? Do you think he's as good as gone?
I think so. I think that, with Josh McDaniels going to the Raiders, I think that they're going to come for, someone that's been in the system before that knows Bill Belichick. And, and I think it's almost a given at this point that he'll go to the Patriots.
No, yeah, I agree. I think he'll go to the Patriots, but I know our early on thoughts were that we wanted him to leave, but the more I thought about it, the more I, kind of came to realize that him staying would have been a good thing for Bryce Young because we'd have some continuity, and we're not used to having continuity from the offensive coordinator spot, but whoever they bring in to replace him if he leaves, I think will be a solid replacement because Nick Saban is the best coach in college football, and he's always great at finding ways to bring in the next best guy, whether that's somebody within or somebody outside.
Yeah, I know people wanted Joe Brady a lot. I saw Joe Brady just signed with the Bills, I believe, as their QB coach.
Yeah, I get it. That was a lazy take. Mhm.
Yeah. But I kind of agree to an extent, right? Like people ragged on Bill O'Brien, myself included, for kind of uninspired play calling all year. But also that uninspired play calling led to Bryce Young having 5,000 yards and a Heisman. So, who knows if it's better, right? At the same time, who would be your pick to replace him if he does leave?
Holman Wiggins.
Holman Wiggins he was like our special teams coach, right?
Receivers coach.
Yeah.
I don't have a
So
pick off the top of my head, but I'm glad they didn't hire Brady because we saw Brady didn't really work out too well with Carolina, so that makes you think was he really all that great, or was just all the studs that LSU had? So I don't have one off the top of my head, but like I said, I trust Nick Saban to figure it out.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's one of those things like, is Joe Brady that good, or was Joe Burrow that good? And I think you're seeing that Joe Burrow was actually just that good, right? I mean, he's took his team to the Super Bowl. One thing that's kind of weird to me, and I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this, and I think I probably know what you guys think, but I've been seeing a lot of discourse about people getting mad that Gumps were rooting for Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl. I think that's so weird. Like, stop being a weird guy. He's not in college anymore. He's in the NFL. Like, who cares if he went to LSU 3 years ago?
Yeah, I agree. And Christian Sykes, I don't know if he's listened, just like me, a huge Peyton Manning fan. Like, once you go to the NFL, like, it's okay to like other players. Like, I mean, some guys like Cam Newton, I'm sorry. I will never go for Cam Newton. I don't care who he plays for.
Yeah, but Joe Burrow beat us one time, and he
he beat us fair and square. I mean, okay, there was some BS calls in that game, but I mean, he for the most part torched our defense and earned his national championship. I don't get what the hate is for him. Like, I have nothing but respect for Joe Burrow. I mean, the man literally just took a franchise who was 1-15 2 years ago and it led him to the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't get the hate. I think it's ridiculous. I don't think you have to hate everyone that doesn't play at Bama. I think that's just ludicrous.
Yeah. And like, I get it, Joe Burrow is notable and stuff, but like, how far do you extend that to, right? Like, am I not allowed to like Justin Jefferson? Are you not allowed to like, I don't know, like any player that played in the SEC? Like, whoever drafts Nakobe Dean, you can't like Nakobe Dean. You can't like Jordan Davis.
I like Matt Stafford as well. I mean, I like both of the quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. Yeah, I know they played at rival schools, but I'm sorry. Dak Prescott, I like him as well.
Yeah, sorry, Joe. You're not allowed to like Montez Sweat anymore. You can't like Chase Young because we played against them that one time. Like, you can't like any of the players on your team that aren't Jonathan Allen or, Daron Payne. Sorry.
Yeah, it's stupid, and it's a really weird look, but doesn't really surprise me all that much if we're being honest.
So speaking of things that do surprise people, I don't think anyone expected to wake up this morning to the news that Pete Golding got arrested for a DUI. And man, that's two like notable Alabama people in the last like 2 months, right? Like Henry Ruggs. And thankfully, as far as I'm aware, no one was injured with Pete Golding. And I know he was tweeting, so he's obviously like on bail or at home or whatever. He'll be charged and get in trouble. And first and foremost, like we said with Henry Ruggs, when that whole thing went down, I just hope that he gets whatever help he needs. And I'm glad that no one got hurt. I believe, again, I could be wrong, but I feel like he would have heard about it by now. But man, we say it every time. There's no excuse, right? You're multimillionaire with literally like the entire city at your beck and call if you needed it. Literally no excuse. And I know there's some people that have done stupid stuff like that and been better people because of it, right? Like you look at Mac Jones, he had multiple DUIs, right? When he was a freshman, I believe. And since then, he's seemingly a good guy. But, it's just embarrassing.
I echo pretty much everything you said. My issue that I have, and obviously we all come on here, we joke around, we have a sense of humor, but the fact that people on Twitter were turning it into a joke when Henry Ruggs literally had, like you said, the same thing happen to him, but he killed somebody. Like you said, thankfully, Pete Golding, for all we know, nothing bad happened. It was just a DUI. But I don't think it's something that you should turn into a joke, and there should just be jokes about it, and it should get swept under the rug. I mean, it's a serious matter that Twitter just doesn't need to be making jokes out of it. So that really irritated me. But
I agree.
I am looking forward to the endless like rearrest Pete Golding jokes and stuff whenever the defense gives up a touchdown next year, though.
yeah, or like opposing fans, Auburn fans.
Oh, we're gonna
Going
get
on
Pete
there.
Golding's mugshot everywhere.
Yeah,
For sure.
But I mean, if you have a coordinator who's dumb enough to do that type of thing, then that's going to happen. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. That's different than the crane kick. But yeah, I don't know. I just, like you said, I don't understand why he did that. And Pete Golding's back on my shit list. Let's just say that. Didn't take him long to get back on it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But
so
if we wanted to talk about some positive news, Tyler,
yeah.
regarding
I was
our
gonna say,
team.
Eric Wolford, Kentucky offensive line coach, taking the same job. We're free from the bad man. Doug Marrone is gone. He was not a great offensive line coach for some reason.
Yeah, maybe he can go coach college or high school football. I think maybe he could figure
But
that.
Eric Wolford is a great addition. That Kentucky has become, a competitive team again. I'm not going to say a powerhouse, but they became a competitive team again off of the trenches, right? Like they were dominating in the run game. And that's exactly what you want to see. And then also, I thought it was kind of interesting. Not only is he a good coach, but I remember Kentucky's big like signee was also an Alabama like target, right? Keon, I'm gonna butcher his name, but Keon there we go. That's my attempt at that. Good one. And he's like a 6'8", 350 pound. He made Evan Neal look a little small, which is, kid's massive, and he's like a high school senior. But anyway, my point is he was going to Kentucky. Do you guys think there's a chance that he might, reconsider a little bit, however slim?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like our offensive line is pretty stacked with depth, but you never know with a guy like that. I wouldn't be too surprised to see it happen.
I mean, we were recruiting him pretty hard.
Yeah. No, I mean, it could very well happen, but I'm just glad that we were able to go out and grab Walford from Kentucky. And I'm really, when it comes to hiring coaching hires at the college level, I'm sorry, Clock, am I boring you? When it comes to coaching hires at the college level, I really just don't like when people go out and get NFL coaches because we've talked about it. I've talked about it a lot on there. Yeah. They're the way they coach in the NFL is completely different than college. And I like Eric Wolford. I think he's a great coach, and I think he'll do a good job molding all these young talented players we have, because Kentucky, I think, was a finalist last year from the Outland Trophy Award. Is that the one that they give to whatever award is for the nation's best offensive line? So and they were finalists, and they had a lot of great guys that will probably get drafted in the NFL, and a lot of that is largely because of him as a coach. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and you look at like what Alabama linemen are returning, right? You have a lot of younger players that are going to be stepping up, or like, because I mean, Evan Neal's gone, so you have like Emil Ekiyor and like Chris Owens, right? Are like the only two that I can think of that would be coming back. I don't even remember if Chris Owens is coming back. Actually, I think he might be for a 6th season.
Is he really?
Let me look real quick. Chris Owens. We'll see.
Maybe.
Yeah, he passed on the 2021 draft, so he is going back for one more year, I believe. Anyway, not a lot of not a lot of returning like players that were actually getting any minutes. And then also you do have like a lot of young people that are supposedly going to be stepping into roles soon, right? Like you have JC Latham, you have both of the Brockmeyers, and then you got the guy from IMG this year. I can't think of his name, but
Terrence
we have another.
Booker?
Yeah, Booker. I think it was Tyler Booker, but I could be wrong. Anyway, yeah, it's Tyler Booker. So anyway,
Okay.
we have a lot of young players that are going to have to step up, and that was one of the banes this year. But I think that I much prefer Wolford coaching them up than I do Doug Marone.
Yep, agreed. I think that's
So,
that's all we
yeah.
got. Thank y'all for watching. We're doing a show, our Super Bowl show, actually on Sunday, correct? Because
Yes. Wait, we are?
Yeah, we are.
So no show next Sunday at all then?
Because I'm
Yeah.
not here.
Oh, that's right.
Tyler's the glue.
I'm going
that
on
holds us together.
vacation.
Yes.
It's supposed to
So,
rain.
Whole
like, all
show
the
on
days I'm
Sunday
there.
at 5?
6 Eastern if you're a weirdo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be doing our NFL stuff, breaking down the Super Bowl, maybe talking a little bit about the East-West Shrine game that's going on right now with the Senior Bowl participants, and we will see y'all on Sunday.
Every time I hear the East-West Shrine game, I think of the East-West Bowl.
Wow.
I'm really excited to see torque construction noises, Lewis. Anyway. We're still live, by the way. Clack never stopped the show. You wanna?
I can't log in. He has to log in.
I do not know what just happened. I know we're still live. So
You're an idiot.
Okay.
You're an idiot. All right.
I don't know what just happened. We'll see on
End
next week.
this. End this.
Yeah, bye.